Let's get straight to Bilal Sarwary, who joins me now live from the Afghan capital. Hi, Bilal. In spite of Afghan special forces having entered the hospital, this siege is still ongoing. Who is still holed up in there?
It is. The building in the background that you can see almost 300 meters away from us has been the scene of a siege for the last 5.5 hours. We understand now from police and intelligence officials that at least 30 people are confirmed killed and more than 60 people are injured. Obviously, this is still an ongoing situation. Many people are trapped inside. From where I'm standing, I can actually see now and then people waving from the 4th or 5th floor, trying to see if they can be rescued. We understand that a number of those killed and injured are members of the Afghan National Army, mostly injured soldiers and officers who are inside the rooms resting. Some of them had just been operated by the Afghan surgeons. And more worryingly, for 100 or so more people who are waiting outside of the hospital, they still have not been able to establish contact with their loved ones. So the agony continues for those who are trapped inside and their loved ones simply can't get hold of them. This is a sophisticated attack. The attackers knew exactly where to go. They must have had maps. They must have had inside information of what is quite a complex building.
Bilal, who are these attackers? Has anyone claimed responsibility yet?
It is slightly complicated at this stage. The Taliban obviously have been saying that it's not their work. There are some suggestions that the Islamic State has said that they are behind the attack. I have not personally seen any evidence of it myself. I've been trying to monitor their social media sites. But what is clear that this is a major blow to an already demoralized Afghan national security forces. If you're a soldier in the Afghan army or if you're an officer, you're often let down by your commander in the front lines. Your food is not in great quality, you don't get paid on time, you don't really have a leave. So for the officers and soldiers who were injured and they were getting treatment in the main military hospital, this was the safest place. This should have been the safest place because there's 24/7 security, there are plainclothes officers, and this attack also shows how volatile the situation in Kabul remains because this hospital is less than a kilometer from the US Embassy. It's in the heart of Kabul. So it really undermines the confidence of almost everyone in the state of security in Afghanistan.
It is quite demoralizing. And Bilal, if it is not the Taliban, who else could orchestrate this kind of attack?
Well, we have seen that the Taliban are capable of launching attacks like this in the past. This hospital was attacked a few years ago. The Islamic State has also been able to launch 1 or 2 very deadly attacks in Kabul. At least these are attacks. They said, Daesh said that they were responsible for it. But the bigger question, I think, that everyone is now asking, why so many intelligence and security failures? Because every time I speak to you from Kabul about these attacks, it's the same problem. It's the same area of weakness that the Afghan government continues to suffer from, not having a good grip on how these attackers in big numbers with weapons like hand grenades, AK-47s, could actually get into areas where ordinary Afghans would simply not be able to get into because there are security measures put in place to prevent these attacks.
And I mean, do Afghans trust the government and the authorities in power now to actually improve the security situation?
I think, unfortunately, not. I think the confidence of the Afghan people is diminishing in the Afghan National Security Forces and the issue of intelligence, because you just have to see how many attacks have happened in Kabul, for example, which is the capital of Afghanistan, over the last many, many years. And you never hear a single Afghan official sacked or brought to justice or asked, at least publicly, that why? You have all these resources, you have all the men, what is missing? Whose fault is it? And then you have a much bigger and dangerous fight in the countryside where Afghan soldiers continue to fight it with their lives. Almost on daily basis, at least 30 soldiers from the police and army continue to get killed defending the Afghan government position. And I must also tell you that there's a huge disconnect for most Afghan elites and for senior officials from the pain that ordinary soldiers or their families go through. Because you could never find in Afghanistan a minister or a senior official whose son or a brother would be serving as a soldier or in the army or in the police. Not that I have come across it. So I think there's a huge disconnect between the pain that most ordinary Afghans go through and the lives of senior officials who have got much more comfortable lives in places like Kabul. They have access to electricity. They don't face the same level of threat and danger that other Afghans do.
Okay. Yeah, a disconnect, and there sounds to be a severe lack of accountability as well. Okay, Bilal, we're going to have to leave it there. Thank you so much for that from Kabul.